Hi, and welcome to Female Entrepreneurs Magazine, your go-to platform for ambitious women who are ready to take the business world by storm. I'm your host, Angel France, and each week we'll dive into the latest strategies, stories, and success secrets from the most inspiring female entrepreneurs around the world.
Hi, and welcome to The Real Female Entrepreneurs. Our next guest is a lifelong creative. Her journey spans from musical theater, tarot card readings, Reiki healing, and now copywriter for spiritual entrepreneurs. From starring in Princess Diana in Diana, the musical, I can't believe you did that. That is so amazing. To reading over 200 people's tarot card readings at the haunted Hotel Cassadaga. She blends storytelling, intuition, and strategy to inspire transformation. Just for you, just so you know. With a passion for aligning messaging and connecting people, our guest's business is the Queen of Swords Copywriting. And she is a force of creativity and empowerment. Help me welcome the spellbinding storytelling and intuitive powerhouse that transforms your copywriting into magic. Amanda Hornberger. Thank you, Amanda. You just so rock. You just rock. I love it.
Thank you for having me. Wow. I feel like I just want to save that intro to remind myself later when I have self-doubt. That was just so lovely.
I'll send it to you. You need to have that, you know?
You made me sound great. I appreciate that.
Well, you're awesome. So, you know what? I really want to know what got you to become the female entrepreneur you are. Something had to happen because you know what? Most people just right off the bat go, oh, I'm going to go get a 9-to-5 job. I'm going to go to college, go do this. You know, what happened? Something happened.
Well, I went to school for musical theater. And so right off the bat, like my career path was not going to look like a lot of people's. But it really took, pandemic time, I was a performer and a tarot card reader full time. And so both of those things require large groups of people meeting in person. And so I lost all my work. I lost my apartment. Life completely fell apart. And ironically, I got that job at the Hotel Cassadaga reading cards, and that's what helped me survive the pandemic. But in the last few years, you know, it's been just kind of bouncing from what I call real person jobs, one real person job to another, just trying to make ends meet and get the ground back under my feet. And eventually I just realized that no matter where I went, I didn't feel like I was being treated very well. I didn't feel like I was being valued. And I've always been kind of an overachiever type person. And so a lot of times in a real person job setting, that turns into either you end up doing the majority of the work because you're fast and because you're an overachiever, or people think you're tiresome because you're following the rules. And I figured out when I transitioned into entrepreneurship that all of the things that were kind of a negative in a regular workplace became a positive because, you know, if I'm fast, if I'm overachieving, if I'm doing a really good job, I get to directly see the benefits from that as an entrepreneur. Whereas at a regular workplace, the person who owns the company is benefiting off of that, not me. So it sort of took just the straw breaking the camel's back at one of my jobs to kind of light that fire to be like, I need to go back, because as a performer, you're essentially an entrepreneur. You're a business and you're trying to get work as a freelancer. That's kind of one way of thinking about it. So I think it's kind of always been in my bones, and I had to get back to what it meant to work for myself and directly see the results of my work.
100%. The other thing is I think you just have a really strong, unique ability for what you do because of your theatrical background and
Mhm.
storytelling and the intuition that you have, insight into different things. Copywriting just seems like a natural.
Yeah. And I actually got a random targeted ad on Instagram for this copywriting course. And this was like in the middle of me going, I can't stand this job. What am I going to do? So sometimes the universe just gives you a little bit of a wink and says, maybe this is where you go next. So I sort of listened to that pull, and it does. Copywriting and marketing strategy really puts together a lot of things that I've been doing for a lot of my life without really knowing that's what I was doing. So yeah, it was good to study it and hone my skills in that area.
And it sounds like you fell in love with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I basically just get to be a cheerleader for other people's businesses. I get to see what's awesome about them and tell other people about it. That's at its core what copywriting is. So yeah, I enjoy that.
OMG. I'm saying OMG for the simple reason that is what people need, especially female entrepreneurs. They need a cheerleader.
Yeah.
They don't like to bring their world out there and go, oh, I'm awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But you do that. You make them awesome.
Yeah. And that's like, it's sort of part of what I feel like doing tarot readings for people is that too. It's like trying to empower somebody to take charge of their own fate and to see themselves as valuable and to make decisions that are like in alignment with what their soul wants them to be. And oddly, that connects to copywriting, but it's more that it's your business that we're guiding with those words. It's, letting the people on the other side of that know what the energy you're putting out is. Yeah, it's kind of weird. The things that I've done all on the surface don't seem connected at all, but I've kind of brought these skills together in a very, I don't know. I'm quirky and weird, so what I do should be quirky and weird.
And I don't think you're quirky or weird at all. What I think is you're bringing the gifts that you were given together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're just gifts that were given to you that are being connected to support and be the cheerleader for others.
Yeah. And it's really fun because a lot of times I'm able to pinpoint things about someone's business that they didn't see it that way or they didn't see it as a strength. But it's like, no, someone from the outside is gonna latch on to this thing about you. Let's talk about it more. Let's let people know. And so it's really fun. I enjoy it.
Talking about quirky and weird and letting the world know that you're a little quirky and weird actually helps because it brings those people who resonate with you to you. It draws them to you.
Exactly. And that's what I'm telling people all the time with my business and with copywriting. Marketing, you don't actually want to reach everyone. You want to reach the people who are actually for the things that you're doing. And so letting your personality out and being authentic in those ways, that's how you get customers who are going to keep coming back. And I've employed this in my own business. I mean, even the name of my business is Queen of Swords Copywriting, because if somebody knows who the Queen of Swords is from the tarot, they're probably someone who would be great for me to work with. And so even that is sort of it's a beacon for my people to find me.
My people. I like that.
Yeah.
Because we all need to find our people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. All right. So how do you balance, because you're working from home, how do you balance the demands of a personal life with the life you have now?
Well, I would say probably the biggest overarching answer of that is practicing boundaries. I'm a boundary queen or I'm trying to be. And that's boundaries with my business, that my business doesn't take over everything, that well enough is well enough, good enough is good enough. Like some days you have to just decide you've done your best and tomorrow's another day. But I think also practicing boundaries with my personal life in that, I work from home and I'm lucky in the new place I live. I have an office that I can close the door. But before I didn't have that. And so it was very much about like, okay, my partner comes home from work and he wants to talk to me, but I have something to do. So practicing that boundary of like, hey, can I talk to you in a little bit when I finish this thing? And so having that to me, that's the answer to balance in everything, not just business, is, having those boundaries, knowing where you want to put your energy and being really conscious about holding that space and maintaining it. So that's probably the big answer. But I honestly think being an entrepreneur for someone creative like me is what has finally allowed me to have a work-life balance. Because I want to be working at weird hours. Like I'm a theater person. I want to sleep in till 10 a.m., have a slow morning, and by noon is when I'm starting my work. Like that's just how my body rhythm is. And so being able to do that and honor my body, what my body wants, and honor if I'm feeling really stagnant, I can get out of the house and go do something for an hour and then come back and have a fresh mind for what I'm working on. So I think that's something that at a traditional job you don't get to do. And I think that's part of why I felt really stifled at a lot of other places, because I couldn't honor what my natural rhythms were asking of me. So yeah, I feel like part of the balance for me was deciding to be an entrepreneur.
Do you find that sometimes your jam don't happen until 12 at midnight?
Girl, midnight to 3 or 4 in the morning is like...
It just works, huh?
They call it the witching hour, right? That's when the magic happens.
Yeah, my husband goes, "Are you going to go to bed?" I said, "Sometime."
Yep. The whole early bird gets the worm thing is that I've never been a morning person. Nope.
I'm married to somebody who was a milkman. Go figure that.
Oh wow.
He was in the milk industry. So yeah.
So that's a morning person.
Very morning. All right. What advice do you have for a woman who is just thinking about, hey, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to put myself out there. What advice do you have for them?
I love this question. And the thing that came to mind for me right away is done is better than perfect. I think a lot of times we hold ourselves back because we think we need to have a perfect plan, everything perfectly in place. Everything needs to be aesthetically pleasing. Like I have to overthink this to death before I can take a single step. And I think, and this is something I talk to clients about too, that with marketing, you don't know what works until you try things and you have data. And so you can't have it be perfect before you try it. You have to, do a good job and take pride in your work. But sometimes you're actually ahead of the next person just because you're willing to put yourself out there and try it. And I feel like that's what theater taught me, right? Like I've done how many hundreds of auditions and I've gotten how many hundreds of no's. And so I'm somebody who doesn't really, I don't have the same fear that a lot of people have about just like, well, I'm just going to put it out there and see what the response is, So I feel like that's the main thing is when you're trying to be an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to take imperfect action because the action part is sometimes more important than the perfection of it. Yeah, I think that would be my biggest piece of advice is Done
So,
is better than perfect.
so when you're done better than perfect, so let's take a step back on what you just said. So you said, and I'm just going through this on experience, that putting stuff out there, let's see if any traction takes,
Mm-hmm.
and then perfect it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, I have worked hours and hours and time with blah. I can't even like get it out of my mouth because it was so long, getting things done, and it just didn't take off.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted it perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what I've seen over the years, like in theater, for example, is people always get mad at, like, they'll see someone on stage and they'll be like, well, that person isn't the most talented person in the world. Why are they standing up there? I know I can name 3 other people who could do that better than them, right? Mm-hmm. But are those 3 people showing up to as many auditions as that person? Are those people making connections with the people at the theaters who are going to make those decisions? Like, sometimes being perfect at the craft of the thing, while it's very important to hone your craft, don't get me wrong, like, you want to make sure that you're good at whatever it is you're trying to do. But in my experience, that's not most entrepreneurs' problem. Like, you're doing the thing you're doing because you love what you do and you're interested in it and you want to be really good at it and do it at a high level. That's not your problem. I think a lot of the times is that imposter syndrome of thinking, until I reach some milestone, that's when I'll put it out there. Or once I'm good enough, but you'll never feel ready and you'll never feel good enough. So at some point, you just have to decide that it's going out into the world. And from there, you can always make adjustments.
All right. I'm going to go back again. The numbers game.
Yep.
The numbers game. I am a number freak, and I believe the numbers are the numbers, and there's no getting around it.
Mm-hmm.
It's 10%. When you get good, it's 10%. I have been the queen of getting 100 straight no's. All right. In business. Really. I have gotten 100 straight no's. I have a certificate for it and everything. And I can tell you now, those 100 no's is what has me here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other no's in between.
Yeah. Diana happened because someone from college remembered my work ethic. He actually told me, I hadn't talked to him in 10 years, and he messaged me out of the blue to audition for this show. And I was like, I talked to him later. I'm like, what made you think of me for this? And he actually told me he couldn't even remember what my singing was like in college. He said, I mean, I knew you were a good singer, but that wasn't it. It was that you were always the person with their backpack full of books working really hard at being in theater. And that's the type of person we wanted to play our lead, is somebody who would work really hard and really care about what they were doing. And yeah, it's like, well, that was 10 years ago. I paid into that without even knowing I was doing that. And so sometimes even the no's aren't really a no. They're setting you up for something in the future.
It's not yet.
Mm-hmm.
It means not yet. It's not the right time.
Yeah, or not the right person yet. Yeah. Like, sometimes you just haven't met the right aligned person to do what you're trying to do. And so you got to keep knocking on doors.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Sending out the LinkedIn request, sending out the emails, I mean,
yeah,
all of it. I mean, that's our new knock on doors.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's cool is you can kind of get to know people on a little bit more personal of a level now. There's a connection point you can find online. You can be and when you're a real person, people are more likely to connect with you, especially in this AI age. How many times have you gotten a message on LinkedIn or an email that you're like, clearly a robot wrote this? So as a copywriter, I'm trying to tell people your strength is in actually being imperfect, being a human, connecting with people on a human level, because we miss that. We want it.
That is a true statement. I mean, I spell my name wrong. I have typos all the time. That's who I am.
Yeah.
So knowing what you've learned so far in business, theater too, because that all applies. I mean, all of it is sales, marketing. It's all the same. You know, somebody can say, "Oh, I'm not a salesperson." I'm sorry. The best teachers are the best salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So knowing what you've learned so far, what would you go back and tell that 18-year-old self?
I would tell her to take a course in business or marketing. She was like, I'm just going to be the best performer I can be, and that will solve it, you know? And I think what I can see now is knowing how to sell yourself, knowing what, and to me, selling is just highlighting the strengths of something so that the right person who needs the thing that you have can find you. And I think the business side of things I wasn't as good at that as I am now. And so I feel like if I could have done that a little sooner, things would have been maybe a little easier, but who knows?
Who knows? All right, we went back. Let's go forward. What are you doing right now to plan? Like, how are you planning for your goals for next year?
Well, so it's really exciting because this past year was actually my first year in business as a copywriter. So I feel like I learned so much last year. And right now I'm just in the thinking, dreaming, planning for what 2025 might look like. I tried a lot of things. I think what I've really learned is maybe because of my performing skills, that talking and having conversations and teaching in that way is something I'm really good at. So I tried this new thing at the end of this past year, which was teaching some little mini, like 20-minute courses, like little mini workshops. And I feel like I got really good response for it. So I feel like spiritual entrepreneurs, same thing like I just said, they're really good at the thing they do, but the business and marketing side of it is sometimes what they need help with. And so finding more ways to reach people with that information and maybe teach a little bit more in those little mini workshop or group settings. I'm thinking of ways to also collaborate with other entrepreneurs to create these little workshop mastermind type things. So you can expect to see more of that, especially if you follow my LinkedIn page. That's where I do a lot of that kind of thing. And yeah, I think collaboration is going to be the word for 2025, working with other people and enhancing our businesses by working together.
That has been the theme of what we've been talking about, is the networking collaboration with other people as a whole. So that has been, every time we talk, it's about networking, it's collaborating, and on and on.
Yeah.
So do you mind sharing one of the major goals that you have for next year? It could be personal, it could be anything, business.
Ooh. Well, I have begun work on a book that I've been wanting to write for a few years. So that is sort of related to my business, but not entirely. It's something for me, but also it is connected to my own spiritual journey and kind of why I'm here doing this thing. And so, yeah, that's my big goal for the year, is to get that book done and maybe in the phase of trying to sell it.
That is awesome. Where are you at right now in the process of writing?
Well, this is something I've been researching for a number of years. It's about, so I had a past life resurface, which is the whole thing that catalyzed becoming a tarot card reader. Mm-hmm. And so doing historical research has been a part of that. So I'm revisiting my research from a few years ago, learning some new things. And I just wrote kind of like the intro to the book a few days ago. So that's where I'm at. It's very new, but it's something I've been percolating on for a while. So yeah. Starting the year off with a new project.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is something that maybe a strategy or something you've done that has helped you scale your business that other people probably would have said, "Oh, you're crazy doing that"?
It's funny because we just sort of touched on it. Networking in all capital letters. I think I started off this business journey. You know, when you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, you think you have to do it all on your own. And nothing made my business grow faster than bringing other people into what I was doing and getting ideas. And so I'm a part of this lovely women entrepreneurs group that meets every month. And that has been getting to talk to women who are further in the journey than I am has been so wonderful. Number one, so that I don't feel like I'm on my own. And number two, because they bring perspectives that I never would have thought of. And so collaboration, I feel like will always be like number one in my scaling up strategy. Is if you can't do it on your own, I bet you there's somebody else who can help. And having that community mindset is really, really like the core of my business. And it's what I teach other people too. I actually had a whole mini workshop on networking that people got actually really excited about, because there's just no other way to do it. You can't do it in a vacuum. And so, yeah, I just think collaboration opens so many doors. And that's where this 2025, I set up some partnerships last year, and I really want to lean into those connections in the new year.
That's awesome. The power of other people and them sharing with you is key to help move that needle every time.
Yeah. And I'm really excited because I've done a number of podcast interviews in the last few months. And so it's like they all come out a few months later. So I feel like it's going to be exciting to amplify those platforms as well within my own business, and let people in my circle know about what those wonderful women are doing. And so, yeah, I love it. I love being on people's podcasts because they've sort of built this platform with their amazing personality, and you get to just sort of step into their world. So that's been fun.
That is fun. I love it. I love when people step into my world. It's fun. If you had a superpower for just 24 hours, what would it be?
Teleportation.
And what would you do?
Well, I have family in Germany that I haven't gotten to see since before the pandemic. And like my cousins have grown up and I haven't been able to be there. And I was supposed to visit them in May of 2020, and we all know how that went. So, yeah, if I could teleport and be with my loved ones in just a second, that would be the dream.
That would be so sweet. All right. One fun fact about you that not a lot of people know.
Well, I was going to have my fun fact be that I was Princess Diana in Diana the Musical, but we've spent this whole time talking about it. So I guess I have to come up with a new one. A fun fact. I'm such an open book. It's hard to think of something people don't know. Well, I guess some people don't know that I'm a huge Elvis fan, and I actually sang backup for a world famous Elvis tribute artist. So
that's fun.
I'm a little bit Elvis famous. Like if I go to Graceland during Elvis week, sometimes people recognize me, which is funny.
Oh my God, they're big time Elvis. So you were a backup singer for the Elvis tribute guy. Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's my random. I guess that's pretty random, but it was great. The closest I'll ever get to singing with Elvis in real life.
That is cool. All right. Your favorite book?
My Man, you're coming at me with these questions. Okay. Well, the one that I had prepared to talk about was there's this book called Dark Night of the Soul by Thomas More.
Okay.
And as far as something that's had the most impact on me, I feel like a friend told me about that book when I was sort of in lowest low, existential crisis, you know, is life gonna ever get better? And what I love about that book is instead of trying to bypass into the positive, like, let's find the lesson in this terrible thing you're going through, that book is really about helping you accept that your life is never going to be the same. It's going to be different from now on. And maybe you're never going to get back to how you used to feel. Maybe there's no goal of where you need to be other than here. And maybe there's something that this dark part is teaching you. Maybe you're growing in depth in ways that you never could without this. And I feel like that book has permeated just the way I see life, because I stopped trying to get past the thing or over the thing and just decided to integrate it and say, well, this is now just part of my being, and maybe it can inform how I interact with the world. So excellent book. And that's sort of the more serious answer. Yeah.
What about a favorite song?
You're asking a musician this.
No.
I think Elvis's If I Can Dream would be my favorite song, because it's about dreaming of a world, how the world could be better, and trying to create it ourselves. And that song always makes me feel inspired when I feel like, you know, the world doesn't look the way I want it to. Elvis tells us that we can if we can dream of a better land, then we can create it. So
it's a really good song. All right. Your favorite quote. Do you have a favorite quote?
So I'm also a huge like Civil War Abraham Lincoln nerd. And I actually have in Abraham Lincoln's handwriting part of this quote tattooed on me. So, and it's from the second inaugural address. It's with I have it written down here so I wouldn't mess it up. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we're in. Oh. So I love that. With malice toward none, with charity for all, this idea that we can strive forward and build something better without having to tear anyone else down as we go. So
I love that. And you know what? You're going to be in the Love magazine anyway. So, oh my God, it's all about love.
Oh, I love it.
How do you stay motivated?
Honestly, I think I struggle to stay motivated on my own, but when I have conversations with my partner or with trusted friends, I feel like nothing makes you jazzed up to get up the next day and try again, like a conversation with somebody who really believes in you. So my friends, my partner, the people in my life who are supportive, they help me stay motivated.
And what is the best way for our audience to stay connected with you and your business?
I have a mailing list. That's probably the best way. If you go to my website, queenofswordscopy.com, there's various places on there to join the mailing list. And I really only send out emails like once a month, but you'll get access to my latest blog post. I also do a card reading for the month. So that's fun. At the end of the email, you always get a little like energy update. And I usually give exclusive deals to my mailing list as well if I'm running any specials. So that's probably the best way to stay on top of what I'm doing and get a little marketing advice every month that you can read over. So,
hey, they all need marketing advice. 100%.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to share with our audience that we haven't discussed yet?
All I would like to say is just that if you're out there and you're an entrepreneur, we all need the reminder that our skills, our light, what we bring to the world is needed and necessary. So just keep doing what you're doing and keep those people around you who keep that light going for you, who feed that light. And yeah, thank you for all that you're bringing to the world. I can't wait to meet you someday. I hope we can connect.
We will. Amanda, you're just too precious. Thank you for being on here. I cannot wait to see you in the magazine.
Thanks for having me. This has been great.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.